National Parks traveler. Postcards from the parks.
We've made it to the last Saturday in September, and it's a gorgeous one. Blue sky overhead, hardly a cloud in the sky. We headed up to Yellowstone National Park, my wife and I, for the last getaway before fall sets in. We headed out from Grant Village in our kayaks. One last paddle for the season. We pretty much had the lake to ourselves. There were a couple guided kayak outings that went up towards West Thumb and we turned back, and we just kept going past West Thumb, farther up the shore, working our way north. It's just been a beautiful day. This is what the national parks are about, getting away into nature and the beauty and the solitude that you can find if you work just a little bit. We had hiked the trail around Inspiration Point the day before, and it was crowded. Visitation to Yellowstone is down this year, but you couldn't tell it when you got out into Canyon and hiked along the north rim or the south rim of the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. Or at Old Faithful, where the boardwalks in the Upper Geyser Basin were just packed with people. But if you have the time and the ability to get out, whether you hike deeper into the backcountry or get out onto one of the lakes in a kayak or a canoe, it really gives you time to think and to re-energize yourself. Forget about everything that went wrong during the summer months, and give yourself a chance to renew and to look forward to the fall season and into the winter. As you paddle north of West Thumb, you just come across these incredible shelves of rock just jutting out over Yellowstone Lake. And while there are boardwalks at West Thumb that you can walk around and see the various hot springs, up here there are no boardwalks. There's no access. And at these shelves of rock, they're just dripping with water from the hot springs. We can't see them because we're on the water, but you can see the steam rising up from them. And you just listen to the water coursing off the shelf of rock and into the lake. Kayaking is really not that hard. It's a little trickier than canoeing, I suppose, because the boats can be a little tippier. But they do give you another opportunity to get back out into the national parks, into the backcountry, so to speak. I mean, you can hear the loop road not too far off in the distance, and we can watch the cars going by. But there's no trails that come out here. There's no overlooks where you can park your car and hike down. At least you're not supposed to hike down this area right here. And we're just paddling along this white cobble beach, watching the steam from thermal features we can't see rise up. Every now and then there's a course of water that cuts down through the beach, gets down into the lake. Yellowstone Lake has so many different personalities. We really looked out today. It's calm. There's just a slight breeze, but the lake is laid down. There are no whitecaps, it's just easy paddling. And then there are days when the winds are roaring and waves, they say, can get up to 6 feet. Not a good time to be on the water. But today is just one of those days you live for. Such a beautiful, beautiful day. And the water of Yellowstone Lake is so clear. You can see down to the sandy bottom. I find myself always looking for cutthroat or even lake trout. My eyes aren't quite that good. The steam rising from the basin is incredible. being on the water presents you with a whole nother dynamic of Yellowstone. I mean, whether you're paddling in Shoshone or Lewis Lake or the big lake, Yellowstone Lake, you get a totally different perspective looking up from the surface of the lakes into the forest, or here at West Thumb. It's so geologically active. There's so many geothermal features. You can paddle for almost an hour or so and just watch the steam coming up from the forest or along the various shelves of rock, which resemble some sort of geologic tort, layer upon layer upon layer. Where you've got a hot spring that you can't see. You can see the steam rising up from it. You can't see the actual hot spring itself, but you can see the water running off, coming off of that shelf like raindrops. It's such a magical perspective to get away from the crowds that come to Yellowstone to see the main thermal features in Old Faithful, or the Midway Geyser Basin, or Lower Geyser Basin. To get off here at West Thumb on the water and just see those thermal features from a different perspective. It's definitely a lot more wild. You can imagine what the 19th century explorers saw and imagine what they thought. Such a wonderful experience. For the traveler from Yellowstone Lake, this is Kurt Repencheck.
National Parks Traveler is a 501c3 nonprofit media organization providing daily editorial coverage of national parks and protected areas. Traveler's coverage is made possible by reader and listener donations. Visit us at nationalparkstraveler.org.